A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to be in front of you today in the beautiful city of Burgos. But let me start my words by taking the IEF to invite me, and also the very able Turkish ambassador for organizing this event. Tebrikler Sayın Büyükelçim. Dear colleagues, dear friends, I know very well that not all of you on your daily work focus on energy. But I am sure you are all aware that the energy prices, economic competitiveness, and energy security, including electricity security, is part of your daily occupations. So therefore, I thought to share with you a couple of global developments which do and which will do affect the energy markets, which in turn will affect your businesses and your country's economies. Let me start with the observation number one. Geopolitics. Dear colleagues, I have been dealing with energy issues since some time. And energy and geopolitics are always interwoven. However, today, when the world goes through a geopolitical upheaval, I can assure you that I have never seen the dark and long shadow of geopolitics casting on energy so much. Russia, Ukraine, Middle East, the trade wars, they are all affecting the energy business today. And this hope, I hope, as an energy person, we focus energy as a business, as a part of the economy, but unfortunately, this is the way how the things stand. My second observation about the current energy markets, oil and gas. Oil and gas prices affect our economies, inflation, our businesses, and everywhere, especially here in Europe. On oil markets and gas markets, we, International Energy Agency, said some 2 years ago, we will see comfortable oil and gas markets, and the prices will be on a moderate level. It is exactly what we are seeing today. In the middle of the geopolitics, so many tensions, Middle East, Russia, and elsewhere, oil prices are around $60. Only 1% of this tension has happened in the past. We have seen oil prices triple digits, 100 plus. The reason is very clear. Two reasons. One, a lot of oil production coming to the markets, flowing from Americas. I call them the American Quintet, US, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, and Guyana. Huge amount of production from non-OPEC countries. At the same time, demand, the consumption is getting weaker and weaker because of two reasons. One, China. Chinese economy is growing, but much more in the side of high-tech rather than like in the past, which was a heavy industry, which requires less oil, less energy. And the second one is, I will mention in a minute as well, the electric cars penetration. So less demand of oil and a lot of production coming when $60 in the middle of tensions. Natural gas, also good news for the importers. Both Spain and Turkey are important LNG importers. And also we are seeing in the gas markets, again from US, Canada, Qatar, huge amount of gas coming to markets, and markets are turning from the markets of sellers to the buyers. In Europe today, the LNG prices are 70% less than they were before the energy crisis started with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And we will see in the next 4 or 5 years, dear colleagues, also further downward pressure on the gas prices. So to sum up, oil and gas markets, comfortable, a lot of supply, and therefore lower prices unless major political surprises come in the picture. This is number one. Another, in my view, maybe most strategic message I want to share with you. And I think this is a good news for both Spain and Turkey. Dear colleagues, energy is the backbone of the economy and social lives. And when we look at the history, the economy, social life has been fueled by one major dominant energy source. During the Industrial Revolution, it was coal, age of coal. Remember the novels of Balzac or Émile Zola, coal miners bringing coal to the economy. Coal is still with us, but age of coal has been replaced dominant by age of oil and gas today we are in. And we will use oil and gas many years to come. But when I look at the numbers, we have all the numbers at the IEA, I can tell you that we are entering the age of electricity. Electricity demand is surging everywhere, around the world. In Europe, electricity demand in the last 15 years were more or less flat, and even in Europe, it is going up. United States, China already very strong, India and elsewhere. Huge growth. Electricity demand grows 6 times higher than the total energy demand. Why it is happening? Why a sudden major growth in electricity demand? In addition to the major usual drivers, there are 3 important new drivers. This is the main reason, the surge. Number 1, artificial intelligence and data centers. There is no AI without electricity. Data centers for AI use a lot of electricity. Just to give you an idea, a medium-sized data center, consumes electricity as much as 100,000 city households. 100,000 households in a city, a medium-sized city. And these data centers are mushrooming, and they need electricity 24/7. And artificial intelligence, as many of you know, it is extremely important. And in my humble view, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technological innovation in the human history. We will see that. And there is a race between the countries, US, China, Europe, Middle East, India, who will be the front runner in AI. So therefore, electricity demand is growing because of AI, number 1. Number 2, many of us wouldn't even imagine, if we made a survey like a few minutes ago, what is the biggest driver of electricity consumption in the world today? I wouldn't know myself as well. It is the increasing number of air conditioners in the developing world. In US or in Japan, 90% of the households have an air conditioner. In Nigeria, it is 5%. India 18%, Indonesia 20%. With the increase in temperatures and the increasing income levels, people buy air conditioners, a big driver as well. This is the second one. AI, air conditioners. The third and the last one for the age of electricity is the electric cars. Dear colleagues, 4 years ago, only 4% of all the cars sold in the world was electric, 4% 4 years ago. And this year, 25% of all the cars sold in the world are electric. And it will grow. They are becoming cheaper, more comfortable, more technologically advanced. As a result of these three things, AI, air conditioners, electric cars, we are seeing a big growth of electricity. Now the question is, with which technologies and which fuels we meet this electricity demand growth? Renewables, both Spain and Turkey are key players in solar, wind, and others. Renewables will be a major driver, I think a big line share of it. But also, I see, as we have predicted at the IEA, nuclear power is making a comeback very strongly around the world, with the traditional nuclear power plants, but also in this site, in 5-6 years of time, small modular reactors being a part of the equation. Renewables, nuclear power, of course, we will see natural gas and the others. But dear colleagues, to finish this electricity part, when you talk with the politicians, I do a lot with the government leaders, business leaders, when we talk about the electricity, the huge portion of the attention is devoted on the power plants. And it is the reason that we are facing a major problem now. Attention needed to be diverted also to grids, transmission lines and distribution lines. If we don't have strong grids, if we don't have a good management of the grids, electricity security is at risk. Governments push the power plants, but they forgot to build the grids. We have a lot of colleagues working on the medical field here with us. It is like the heart pumps the blood, but you need veins to bring it to the rest of the body. We forgot either to renew the grids, build the grids, and therefore electricity security became a major problem in many countries, including Spain, and the challenge also in Turkey and other countries. Dear colleagues, last two headlines for you. One, in my view, for many, a new geopolitical battlefield at global scale that we have been saying since 4 years. Critical minerals. What is critical minerals? It is the copper, it is the lithium, it is the cobalt, it is the nickel. These critical minerals are needed in order to make a drone or a car or manufacture a food or other parts of the defense industry or building a power plant or grids. What is the problem? The problem is the following. Critical minerals have two components. One of them is mining, getting the minerals out of the ground. Second is to refine it and make it useful. Now, up to now, China had a strategy, a clever strategy, had a lot of agreements with the countries in Africa, Latin America, Asia, and elsewhere, and had good agreements to get these critical minerals to China and also other countries as well. And there is a bit of a concentration of the mining of these critical minerals in one country. But the main problem is those nickel, lithium, doesn't mean anything at all useful if you don't refine it. Something like a crude oil. If you have crude oil under the ground, it is useless unless you refine it, making a gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, or LPG and others. And today, China alone accounts 75% of all the refining in the world. And therefore, if China decides not to export these critical minerals here and there, if they decide for this or that reason, I don't know if they will do, they did a few things in the last few weeks, the entire supply chain of car manufacturers, drones, chips will be paralyzed. As we have said 2 years ago. Europe has bitterly understood that one country shouldn't have an over-reliance on one single country. Golden rule number 1 of energy security is diversification. Therefore, with the critical minerals, we will see a major geopolitical tension, and if we aren't able to have a diversification here. And I just want to put it here because I am saying since almost 2-3 years, and now we are seeing some signs of the export restrictions, and I think it is just the beginning. Dear colleagues, last point I want to bring to your attention is on climate change. On climate change, I see 2 opposing trends and conflicting. Number 1, when I talk with the government leaders, business leaders, I see that the climate change as a global topic is sliding down in the international agenda. Sliding down. We like it or not, this is the situation. Governments and the others have immediate urgencies. They look at those issues, and climate change is sliding down. This is one trend. The opposing trend, in my view, is when you look at today, 2024 was the hottest year in the history. And the number of extreme weather events, floods, wildfires, droughts, typhoons, both their frequency and their intensity increased. Political attention is less, and the climate effects are growing. So this is something that I thought we should all be aware just before the COP30 meeting taking place in Brazil under the leadership of President Lula. So, dear colleagues, I just wanted to share some highlights of the global energy picture. The current situation, some strategic moves such as the age of electricity, and some headaches coming, such as the critical minerals and supply chains, and something that we, I think, should always remember, the challenge of climate change. And I look at Spain, I look at Turkey, 2 countries, bastion of the Mediterranean Sea, one on the west, one on the east, and in a world where we have so much geopolitical tensions, when established alliances among the countries are being questioned, I think it is the high time to have good, well-founded cooperation between the countries which are aligned economically and also culturally. As such, when I look at the numbers, I see many areas that these 2 economies are complementary, such as the renewables, such as the digital technologies, such as the transportation, among others. And I very much hope ladies and gentlemen, that this meeting would cement this cooperation and provide inspiration for further close cooperation between these two great nations. Thank you very much.